What happens if you drill?
They'll explode.
Oh, there's some choice.
We'll have to figure some other way to...
Gilligan may have been stranded on a deserted island, but the cast had secrets too, from hidden pregnancies to surprise babies on set, and even characters who quietly changed identities. Gilligan's Island has more secrets than coconuts. Today we're revealing 50 small details you totally missed in Gilligan's Island. Stick around, because even lifelong fans are about to be surprised. Dawn Wells won Miss Nevada. Before taking on her iconic role, Dawn Wells won the title of Miss Nevada in 1959. This real-life pageant experience helped shape her wholesome, all-American image, which translated perfectly to her character on the show. Fans who know this fact often see Marianne's charm and poise as a reflection of Wells's background in modeling and public appearances. Glamour shots for Ginger. Tina Louise was filmed with special lighting and carefully chosen camera angles to emphasize her Hollywood glamour. Even on a deserted island, the production highlighted her star quality, making Ginger stand out as the quintessential movie star character. These subtle techniques reinforced her character's persona while keeping the visual style polished for viewers. Studio versus Hawaii shots. While the opening credits featured scenic shots of Hawaii, the majority of island scenes were filmed on a man-made lagoon at CBS's Studio City backlot. This allowed the crew to control lighting, weather, and set design while still creating the illusion of a tropical paradise. Observant viewers can sometimes spot the differences between the lush location shots and the carefully constructed studio sets. Surviving bloopers. Gilligan's Island was filmed on tight schedules, which sometimes led to small continuity errors. Gilligan's hat might disappear mid-scene, or Mrs. Howell's jewelry could switch sides. Fixing these mistakes in the original negatives would have been expensive and time-consuming, so many bloopers were left as is. When the show entered syndication, these little slip-ups survived, giving eagle-eyed viewers decades later plenty of fun spot-the-error moments to enjoy. Sunlight versus studio lamps. Some outdoor daytime scenes feature shadows going in different directions, a hint that the actors were actually lit by studio lamps rather than real sunlight. These subtle lighting inconsistencies can be spotted if you pause and study the angles carefully, showing how production had to balance real locations with controlled set environments. Real-world timeline hints. Sometimes background radio announcements or passing dialogue hinted at contemporary events or trends from the 1960s. While never specific enough to date the series exactly, sharp-eyed fans can connect these subtle references to real-world headlines of the era. These tiny touches added a sense of realism, anchoring the island's comedy in the viewer's everyday world. Gilligan's shirt had wear and tear. The iconic red shirt took a lot of abuse during filming.
Explosives in your teeth!
From pratfalls to long hours under hot studio lights. If you pause carefully, you can spot small tears, fraying, or repairs that slip past the costume department. These subtle signs show just how much the actors relied on the same wardrobe pieces for multiple takes and episodes, adding an unintentional layer of realism to the show. Natalie Schafer was secretly a millionaire. While she played the wealthy and pampered Mrs. Howell on screen, Natalie Schafer was also quite wealthy in real life. She invested smartly and left behind a fortune of over $1.5 million, proving her role wasn't far from reality. Multiple minnow models were used. The famous boat seen in the series wasn't a single prop. The production team used multiple models for different shots. Close-ups, long shots, and promotional stills often featured slightly different versions of the minnow, with variations in the wheel, railings, and overall scale. This clever use of multiple props allowed filming to proceed efficiently while keeping the illusion of one consistent boat on screen. Inconsistent island geography. The layout of the island often shifted from episode to episode, with beaches, lagoons, and huts appearing in different locations. This meant that the professor's carefully drawn maps didn't always match what viewers had seen before. These inconsistencies weren't mistakes as much as they were a flexible storytelling tool, allowing writers to adapt the setting to each episode's plot. Guest stars were reused across specials. Several actors returned in the reunion movies, playing entirely different characters than they had in the original series. These repeat appearances acted as subtle Easter eggs for observant viewers, rewarding longtime fans who recognized recognized familiar faces. It was a playful nod to the original show while keeping the new stories fresh and entertaining. Lunchboxes were full of lies. Merchandise like lunchboxes, posters, and toys often featured promotional photos that didn't match what actually appeared in the episodes. Kids might have seen characters in outfits, poses, or scenes that never happened on screen. These discrepancies were purely for marketing appeal, creating collectible items that looked fun even if they weren't accurate to the show. Johnson served in the military. Before his acting career, Johnson served as a bombardier on a B-25 Liberator during World War II. His plane was shot down over the Philippines in 1945, and after returning home, he used his GI benefits to study at the Actors Laboratory in Hollywood. Dawn Wells was pregnant while filming. During season 2, it was widely rumored that Dawn Wells, who played Mary Ann, was pregnant. Fans noted that costume designers adjusted her outfits and staged scenes to supposedly hide her pregnancy. It's an interesting theory, but these rumors aren't true. It was never confirmed that she was actually pregnant. Recycled sound effects. Many of the island's ambient sounds, like bird calls, crashing waves, and jungle noises, were reused across multiple episodes. The sound library was limited, so these repeated effects became familiar cues for attentive viewers. This recycling helped the production save time and money while still creating the illusion of a lively, consistent environment. Mrs. Howell's jewelry was real.
Mind and body.
Not so fast, darling.
Yes, of course.
Natalie Schaefer, who played Mrs. Howell, occasionally wore real pearls and fine jewelry from her own collection during filming. These authentic pieces added a subtle touch of realism to her wealthy socialite character. Fans who pause carefully can sometimes spot the genuine sparkle, showing the attention to detail in costuming for the show. Alternate script drafts existed. Many episodes went through multiple script drafts before filming, with lines cut due to sponsor concerns or strict time limits. Some of these deleted lines and alternate takes were later revealed in interviews and behind-the-scenes accounts during the reunion specials. These glimpses into the writing process show how flexible the scripts were and how small changes could alter character interactions or comedic timing. Sponsors influenced the laugh tracks. Canned laughter and musical stings were often rearranged between network broadcasts and syndicated reruns to meet sponsor preferences. This meant that the timing of jokes or reactions could feel slightly different depending on where or when the episode aired. Observant viewers sometimes noticed subtle mismatches in laughter or music cues, a result of balancing creative intent with advertising requirements. Topical jokes were time-locked. Several throwaway lines and jokes in the series reference current events, pop culture, or trends of the 1960s. Modern viewers often miss these subtle nods because the references have become obscure or outdated. Recognizing them gives fans a glimpse into the era's humor and shows how the writers wove contemporary culture into the show's lighthearted storytelling. Russell Johnson's audition journey. Initially, Johnson was hesitant to audition for Gilligan's Island due to commitments to other projects. He finally auditioned after those opportunities fell through, leading to his iconic role as the professor. Sets changed overnight. The interior of the huts frequently looked different from one episode to the next, with windows, doors, and wall angles shifting unexpectedly. This happened because the production team flipped and reused the same set pieces to save time and space. Careful viewers can spot these subtle differences, revealing how practical set management influenced the on-screen island environment. Advocacy after personal loss. After the death of his son David from AIDS in 1994, Johnson became actively involved in fundraising efforts to combat the disease, demonstrating his commitment to social causes beyond his acting career. Fans once tried to rescue the castaways. Some viewers became so invested in the story that they actually contacted the Coast Guard, urging them to rescue the stranded group on the island. The mix of comedy and realism fooled enough fans into thinking Gilligan and his friends might really be in trouble. Cast friendships shaped scripts. The real-life relationships between cast members sometimes influenced what appeared on screen. Writers would adjust or cut lines to reflect the actors' chemistry, making sure interactions felt natural and that tension or humor didn't disrupt harmony on set. This subtle tailoring helped the performances feel more genuine and maintained a friendly atmosphere during filming. Fans saved the show. When Gilligan's Island first aired between 1964 and 1967, critics weren't exactly kind, and its Nielsen ratings were only moderate. CBS even canceled it after just 3 seasons to make room for Gunsmoke. But the story didn't end there. Reruns in the 1970s and 80s turned the show into a cult favorite, reaching kids who weren't even born during its original run. By the late 70s, it was one of the most syndicated shows on television, playing on local channels almost every afternoon. ad-libbed lines on set.
Can't believe it. It's too good to be true.
What is it?
It's a communication cable. Don't you understand? It's a telephone line.
Many funny one-liners weren't actually in the script. The cast improvised small gags that slipped past the writers. Bob Denver often added physical comedy beats, while Dawn Wells improvised wholesome quips to make Mary Ann feel more real. These unscripted touches gave certain episodes a unique flavor and help explain why the show's tone sometimes shifted from slapstick to warm and witty within the same scene. Reunion movies were packed with callbacks. After Gilligan's Island ended, the cast returned for a string of reunion TV movies in the late 1970s and early 1980s, including Rescue from Gilligan's Island and The Castaways on Gilligan's Island. These specials weren't just new adventures, they were filled with winks to longtime fans. Props like the makeshift radios, familiar slapstick routines, and even recycled jokes from the original series were intentionally brought back. Modern buildings in the background. Even though Gilligan's Island was supposed to take place on a completely deserted island, eagle-eyed fans have noticed that in some wide shots you can spot modern buildings, telephone poles, or even parking lot structures in the background. When the cameras pulled back just a little too far, bits of 1960s Los Angeles would sneak into the frame. Vague timeline for global appeal. The show rarely mentions exact years or real-world political events, a deliberate choice by the writers. By keeping the timeline vague, episodes could easily be syndicated internationally without feeling outdated. This timeless approach helped Gilligan's Island stay relatable for viewers around the world, letting audiences enjoy the castaways' adventures without worrying about when or where they were happening. Russell Johnson's didn't like being famous. Russell Johnson, who played the professor, wasn't always comfortable with his newfound fame. In a 1966 interview, he admitted, "I don't like people looking at me," and he avoided public appearances whenever possible. Despite his iconic role, he preferred a low-key life away from the spotlight. Typecasting Challenges. After portraying the earnest professor, Johnson found it challenging to secure roles as a villain in TV westerns, a type of role he had previously enjoyed. The typecasting from his Gilligan's Island role became so embedded in his reputation that it limited his casting opportunities. Future stars as guests. Some actors who appeared as one-off guest stars on Gilligan's Island later went on to become household names. Kurt Russell appeared as Jungle Boy, Stockard Channing played a female gorilla, Phil Silvers guest starred as Harold Hecuba, and Don Rickles showed up as Norbert Wiley. Spotting these early roles gives fans a fun glimpse at future stars before they became regulars on popular TV series. These early roles are easy to miss, but they offer a fun glimpse at future stars before they became household names. Spotting them adds an extra layer of enjoyment for fans revisiting the series. The radio voice actor.
Erica, all America is waiting breathlessly to hear about your adventure.
The off-screen radio announcer's voice was frequently reused across multiple episodes, often delivering news, weather, or special alerts. This subtle repetition served as a continuity Easter egg, giving attentive viewers a sense of familiarity and cohesion. It's one of the small production touches that adds depth to the show's world, even off-camera. Scientific nonsense was added on purpose. The professor's inventions, from coconut radios to bamboo-powered generators, were never meant to be scientifically accurate. Russell Johnson admitted that these gadgets were designed purely for comedy, embracing intentionally silly solutions. This playful approach allowed the show to blend humor with creativity, making the professor's experiments entertaining rather than realistic. Stock footage giveaway. Many of the island's natural elements, like crashing waves, birds, and animals, were pulled from stock footage libraries. Careful viewers can sometimes spot these clips repeating across episodes, or notice when they don't quite match the on-screen action. The castaways represented society. Schwartz designed the 7 castaways as a social microcosm: the rich, the working class, the academic, the starlet, and the everyman. The island was meant as a satire of modern America, and partially an experiment of what would happen if you drop a group of people on a deserted island. The pilot cast was totally different. The unaired pilot featured a high school teacher and 2 secretaries instead of the professor and Mary Ann. These early character concepts were scrapped to better balance the cast and make the show more appealing. This casting overhaul helped set the foundation for the iconic group of 7 we know today. Prop recycling. Many of the makeshift contraptions on the island were built using parts and materials recycled from previous episodes. Eagle-eyed fans can spot the same pulley, wheel, or gadget appearing in different contexts. The theme song changed mid-series. Originally, the theme song didn't mention the Professor and Mary Ann, focusing more generally on the castaways. After cast members complained, the lyrics were updated to include them, giving a nod to the full ensemble. This small change helped the song feel complete and more connected to the characters fans had grown to love. Bunny was replaced by Mary Ann.
Now you catch some nice big fish.
Oh, but I don't think I can.
Now those are orders.
The unaired pilot featured a character named Bunny instead of Mary Ann, intended as a schoolteacher archetype. Test audiences and producers didn't respond well to Bunny, so the character was cut entirely. This decision paved the way for Mary Ann, who became one of the most beloved castaways in the series. Johnson continued appearances. Following the original series, Johnson reprised his role as the professor in 3 made-for-TV Gilligan's Island movies during the 1970s and 1980s, as well as in 2 animated children's versions of the series. Flag at half-mast. In the opening credits, the US flag is seen waving at half-staff, a subtle historical nod. This was filmed shortly after President John F. Kennedy's assassination in 1963. It's a tiny, often overlooked detail that situates the show within its real-world context. Skipper's real name revealed. The skipper's full name is Jonas Grumby, but it's only mentioned in passing during the series. Sharp listeners who catch this detail discover a hidden gem about one of TV's most iconic characters. It's a small touch that adds depth to an otherwise simple sitcom role. The professor's name stayed mostly hidden. His real name, Roy Hinckley, almost never gets said aloud but appears in scripts and production notes. It's a small detail many fans didn't catch during the series. First name debate. Creator Sherwood Schwartz originally wanted Willie Gilligan, but Bob Denver insisted the character should be known simply as Gilligan. His insistence won out, making the clumsy, lovable first mate a one-name icon in television history. It's a small but significant detail that shaped how fans remember the character. Tina Louise refused reunions. Disliking typecasting, Tina Louise avoided most reunion specials and distanced herself from the ginger persona. Her absence kept her Hollywood career separate from the sitcom, creating an interesting dynamic among returning cast members. Fans notice her absence in the later projects, marking the lasting impact of typecasting. Parts of the Lagoon are still here today. After failed Malibu shoots, CBS built the Lagoon set on their Studio City lot. Today, the lot is filled with office buildings, but back then it provided a controlled environment for filming. This man-made lagoon allowed for consistent lighting, weather control, and elaborate set pieces, critical for the show's visual continuity. Today, you can still spot some props at the parking lot as a fun reminder of the show. The SS Minnow was a political joke. Creator Sherwood Schwartz named the SS Minnow after Newton Minnow, a government official who famously called television a vast wasteland. This subtle nod served as a playful inside joke about TV culture at the time. Few viewers caught the reference, but it demonstrates the layers of humor behind the scenes. Sets rebuilt and flipped. The interior walls of the huts were often reused in creative ways, sometimes flipped upside down or rotated to appear as new spaces. This allowed the production team to save on materials and set construction time while still giving each episode a fresh look. Filming coincided with tragedy. The pilot was filmed in November 1963, the same week President Kennedy was assassinated. Despite the national tragedy, production continued, and subtle historical echoes like the half-mast flag appear in the show. That's 50 hidden details you probably missed on Gilligan's Island. Which one surprised you the most? Drop a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives.